So, breaking news, Pope Leo XIV is adding a new form of the Mass to the Roman Missal. This is going to be a Mass for the care of creation. So, kind of an ecology Mass, if you will. You know how there's Masses for various purposes? Now there will be one for the care of creation. We're going to take a look at that breaking news, as well as a few other items. Father James Martin, Catholic Jesuit priest, is comparing homosexual parenting to the Trinity and the love of the Trinity. We also see that Mel Gibson, the famous sedevacantist, is now visiting Mount Athos. We're going to take a quick look at that and what that might mean. As well as Dyer, who just lost a debate on whether or not Muslims and Christians worship the same God. In the video, in the debate, he concedes the debate thesis without realizing it. We're going to take a look at all of that coming up next. So yeah, breaking news, new form of the Mass heading your way. Take a look at this, just released by the Vatican. Accredited journalists are advised that on Thursday, July the 3rd at 10 a.m. in the Holy See press office, a press conference will take place to present the new form of the Mass for the care of creation, which will be added to the Mass for various purposes and needs of the Roman Missal. You know how there's different Masses for different purposes? There might be a Mass for, someone dying or someone being baptized, or just for odds and ends and various needs. Well, this is going to be added to that category. A Mass for the care of creation, an ecology Mass. Now, some are already really concerned. They already hate this. They feel like this might be Pachamama 2.0. They feel like this is Pope Francis all over again. Some are calling Pope Leo XIV Francis 2.0. So there's some people who are negatively receiving this. Others are going to, when they find out about this information, appreciate it. And they're going to say, well, look, the care of creation is a good thing. So there are going to be people who are kind of polarized on this issue. On the one hand, some people feel like, no, this is weaponizing the Mass, using it for political purposes, for climate change propaganda. Others are saying, no, we need to be good stewards of God's creation, and this will reinforce that. So this will certainly be something that people will on the whole be divided over. Some are going to love it, some are going to hate it. Either way, it's coming your way. Be aware of this. So there will be that press conference where at the Holy See press office, they are going to add more details and then tell us when this is going to be added to the Roman Missal. And it will be fascinating to see what that Mass looks like, what the form of that Mass is, what is the language, what are the prayers, what do they say? We don't know that yet, so stay tuned. We'll find out more information whenever that comes. We'll go over it at that time. Now, in other news, we're seeing Mel Gibson, a sedevacantist, so he does not recognize that there currently is a pope and doesn't believe that there has been a pope since Pope Pius the 12th. He doesn't accept Vatican II, hasn't accepted any of the popes since then. He's been very open about that. He's been sedevacantist his whole life. Now, he just visited Mount Athos, and he's there at various monasteries on Mount Athos. This is a well-known Eastern Orthodox place of worship where you have a bunch of Eastern Orthodox monks from different groups, different Orthodox churches, but well-known Eastern Orthodox site. And some are starting to wonder, well, does this mean that maybe Mel Gibson is interested in maybe converting to Eastern Orthodoxy? Some say yes. Others are saying, no, you're just reading way too much into this. He just wants to visit this holy site. Take a look at Orthodox Ethos, the outlet of, or the media outlet of Father Peter Ayres, an Eastern Orthodox whose own canonical situation is very questionable, as I've pointed out in many videos here. He's posting this. Mel Gibson arrived today at the Holy Monastery Hilander, where he will stay for the next few days. Now, here's what Mel Gibson says. I have never felt such a strong connection with God anywhere as here, said the Hollywood actor. Now, that's a fascinating thing. So, in other words, he feels more of a stronger connection there than at every Mass that he's ever been at. That's a fascinating claim. And this is why some people are wondering, well, does that mean that he's starting to move away from sedevacantism and starting to look for Eastern Orthodoxy? I don't know, but I've told y'all numerous times the sedevacantists are ripe for the picking for Eastern Orthodoxy. It seems like sedevacantism is just a halfway house and a stepping stone to move on over to Eastern Orthodoxy anyway. Some people never connect those dots and never make that move, but a lot of people do end up connecting the dots, and they don't stay in sedevacantism long. They end up going to Eastern Orthodoxy or retracing their steps, going back to the Catholic Church or doing something else. So there could be something going on here with Mel Gibson, that, or could be that people are just reading too much into this. Now, I also want to take a quick look at something that we've been looking at for a while now, the debate on whether Christians and Muslims worship the same God. I got a lot of videos already covering this. I got a video that I just released. Does Catholicism teach Muslims can be saved? Here's the answer. And this is a related item to the video we're about to look at. Maybe go and watch that. But I've also done a lot of videos, even recently, on do Christians, Muslims worship the same God? I got videos responding to Dyer on whether or not Pope Urban II, taught that Muslims worship demons, and does that contradict the magisterium? I posted that yesterday. So got a plethora of stuff already covering this. I want to bring this clip to your attention because it's clear that the Catholic here, Christopher, the Catholic here in the debate really gets Dyer to concede the debate thesis, which is quite hilarious. It's kind of like that time we had Voice of Reason on the channel, Debate Luigi. That was the same day that Luigi became an Orthodox catechumen, about like an hour before coming on my channel. which is odd because I originally told people this is a Protestant versus Catholic debate, and then he told me about an hour before the debate that he's now become an Orthodox catechumen, and here he is now debating as an Orthodox when he's literally okay. Anyways, all right, so it was pretty fascinating because in that debate, Voice of Reason got him to concede the debate thesis at least 3 different times, and Luigi didn't realize it. Luigi's now an Orthodox apologist online. That was pretty hilarious. Now watch this, where Dyer concedes the debate thesis without realizing it and gets mad. Some people say that he left the stream early. He made an excuse that he had to go, although I don't know why he would have other commitments and other things scheduled when you already know that you have this debate/discussion. I don't know. Maybe it was a legitimate excuse. Other people say he just effectively rage quit. I don't know. Either way, it's fascinating to watch him concede the debate thesis. Do Christians and Muslims worship the same God? Watch this with me. And I want to touch on something at the very end that is said. So pay attention very, very carefully. Let me share my screen, make sure you can hear the audio. Okay.
Predicated on rejecting the Son, and as
what do you mean by getting anywhere? Getting anywhere in terms of salvation? Because I agree with that. Who cares if they're getting anywhere in terms of salvation? That's not the resolution.
Let me start it over.
Given what I pointed out about the ease of reference and intentional action, why would even those severe errors about the nature of God make us think that Muslims fail to worship the God that they're attempting to worship, that they fail to adore the one true God?
I know this one. Jesus answers in John 4 to that, and he says to the woman at the well, I'm answering. The Samaritans are Unitarians. It's the same fundamental ontological position as Islam, right? They're Unitarian. Jesus says, you worship what you don't know. So the true sense here of what matters in terms of worship.
So she does worship it.
But the point is that she doesn't know it.
But it doesn't matter. The resolution is
not intimately.
And that was the whole argument that I made. That's what I said. I said Jacob knows the Trinity.
The resolution
Cameron, can you put up my Superman slide?
Muslims. The resolution of the debate. Hold on. The resolution of the debate was whether Christians and Muslims worship the same God. If you concede that it's possible to worship the true God even without, in some sense, knowing him, then you've just conceded the debate.
Jay, man, come on. Look, you're an entertainer. You're not a scholar. You really need to just stick to doing videos about aliens twerking. You're an entertainer. This is not your thing. Come on, man. You literally just conceded the thesis of the debate. You are rightly being dragged up and down, left and right, all over social media for this. This is absolutely fascinating. Maybe you should have thought through your own arguments that you bring up such as John 4, think of that before you come to the debate. That's just my advice to you. But anyways, okay. So watch this, however. There is something fascinating that's said at the end.
I'm not conceding that because the point of the passage is that the knowledge is not getting you anywhere. Islam is predicated on rejecting the Son. And as
what do you
John
mean by getting anywhere? Getting anywhere in terms of salvation? Because I agree with that. Who cares if they're getting anywhere in terms of salvation?
Okay, so here, Christopher, the Catholic says, who cares? You know, I agree that they're not getting anywhere as far as salvation. But as I've pointed out, oddly enough, that is not what the Catholic Church teaches. The Catholic Church actually teaches that they do get somewhere for salvation. I've pointed this out. Multiple documents from the Vatican. I just did a video. Does Catholicism teach Muslims can be saved? Here's the answer. I did a short form version of that video, so just go and watch that. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. That's the quick bite-size version where I briefly cover it, but I did a 2.5-hour examination of this question in more detail in a video called Outside the Church, There Is No Salvation, a comprehensive examination. I'll put a link to that in the show notes if you want more details. But here's the thing. So Christopher there said that, you know, who cares? Yeah, they worship the same God, but it doesn't mean it's salvific. Okay, that's a fascinating view, but of course that is not what the magisterium says. The magisterium is saying more than that. The magisterium is not just saying that Christians and Muslims worship the same God. The magisterium is saying that non-Christians actually can be saved through fidelity to the goodness found in their own religion, and that the Holy Spirit can work through the religions. Here, talking about whatever is good, true, and beautiful present in these other religions. That's the position of the church, whether you like it or not. You know, whether it makes sense of the Council of Florence or Unum Sanctum or X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter. That's a different question. I'm just simply telling you what the magisterium says, for better or worse, whether you like it or not. So I thought that was fascinating, and I've pointed out in that video that I just did earlier, Does Catholicism Teach Muslims Can Be Saved? I said, look, this is really where the debate should be. Not do Christians and Muslims worship the same God. That's easy. Of course they do. The real debate should be is, does Catholicism teach that Muslims can be saved, Muslims and even just non-Christians, can be saved through the good in their religion by the Holy Spirit? The answer to that is yes. If I were Jay Dyer, I would be pointing this out, saying, hey, wait, you Catholics, actually, your magisterium is saying this. And that should really be the focus of these discussions at this point, because the same God debate is child's play compared to this other issue, how that lines up with Council of Florence and other things like that. Okay, so that's where the real debate is. 99% of people are missing it. So now I'm calling attention to that. Anyways, okay. So one other thing now, shifting gears. Father James Martin, the very one who has, from the previous pontificate, papal backing, consultant for one of the dicasteries of the Vatican, a priest in good standing who promotes pride masses, Pride Day, all of that. Yes, there are pride masses in the Catholic Church. I did several videos talking about that and how actually common it is. Father James Martin calls Pete Buttigieg, however you pronounce it, homosexual parenting beautiful, and relates their love to the Holy Spirit. Watch this.
Oh, that's beautiful. So understanding the Father's pain for his son on the cross.
Yeah, because I think at least most American liberal Christians think it's safe to say, to the extent that we have affinity or identity in the Holy Trinity, it's mostly the Son that we're relating to, right? And that's kind of, in a way, the point of the arrival of the incarnate figure of Jesus Christ, a little more relatable than the God the Father of the Old Testament. Maybe it's just the way of the world, but now I'm in my 40s and I'm a father, and I'm starting to better align with the style that is presented, the style of love and the style of concern that we associate with God the Father.
That's beautiful. I mean, it really does. It's an entree into the Trinity, right? Into that relational aspect of the Trinity.
Il matrimonio non è un ideale, ma il canone del vero amore tra l'uomo e la donna.
Okay. Wow. Quite the comparison. Some would say that's even a blasphemous comparison. But yet here, Father James Martin is still priest in good standing, has not been disciplined either by Rome or his superior. He is still given a very great deal of liberty and freedom to disseminate positions like this, which most people would argue is completely contrary to Catholic dogma. One wonders if anything will ever be done about him. I don't know. I do suspect at some point the only thing that will be done about him is he'll be promoted to a bishop and then a cardinal. That's my personal opinion. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Not saying that I think that's the right move, but I suspect if anything is going to be done about his status in the church, he'll probably get a promotion. Anyways, those are the things I wanted to cover with y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and consider supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/Reason and Theology. But definitely hit that sub button. Need your support. Sometimes I do videos. It takes a lot of heat, stuff that people don't want to hear, but need to hear. And, you know, I lose subscribers, lose followers and stuff like that because of it. But I'm still going to keep saying what needs to be said regardless. But if you want to help offset that and show some support and appreciate the content, go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. See you next time.